This is a flag, the England flag of St. George. There are many flags like it, but this is mine. The ancient symbol of England in the English. It's 2025 and England is experiencing an unprecedented and coordinated wave of migration. Our leaders, institutions and the media all expect us not merely to accept it, but to welcome it. Like Orwell's Ministry of Truth, they repeat a falsity ad nauseum. Diversity is our strength, and English unity is problematic. Now, Britain's a country built on centuries of stability. We're a people who traditionally just don't protest, but despite decades at the ballot box trying and failing to stop migration using democratic means, things are starting to boil over. The Raise the Flag movement was a brilliant, simple idea. Simply fly the symbol of England everywhere. Let the silent majority know they're not alone. England still remains. Predictably, this revealed a fault line.
Say that, you know what that is?
Nationalism or
That's just
racism.
kind of ignorance to me, because you're waving it around and I feel it's...
Don't start with me.
Let's get a new flag, because that one is outdated and it represents far too much negativity in this country. I think we need a new day.
Clearly you're not uniting by using
we
it
are.
like this, are you?
Like what? How are we using it? How are we using it? Excuse me, how are we using it?
You're an angry little woman.
How are we abusing it? Explain, have a conversation.
Because you're using it to spread hate.
No, we're not.
Yes, you are.
No, we're not.
The divide that's come to define these times. One that marks an ever-widening gap between two disconnected and antagonistic worldviews that sadly seem to be irreconcilable. During the Brexit schism, you saw the polls starting to shift. On the Leave side, people were motivated by the idea of self-sovereignty. They took value and meaning from the place they come from, and so some pollsters called them the somewheres. On the other side, you have the Remainers, and they're the anywheres, who feel that they belong more to the international community. The somewheres see the flag of St. George with love. The anywheres see it as a symbol of hate. The somewheres put value in and take meaning from their land, their history, culture and their ancestors. Whereas the anywheres don't identify with the nation or the past. They're more collectivist, globalist and cosmopolitan. They also form the liberal elite class who've held power, influence, wealth and status within our society for the past 30 years. And despite a win at the ballot box for Brexit, despite 14 years of rule by a so-called conservative government, the social liberalism won through and prevented any real change in our trajectory, and along the way highlighted the fundamental illusion of democracy. Now this, as you can imagine, has stoked feelings of frustration and helplessness. As a result, in September of 2025, hundreds of thousands of somewheres attended the Unite the Nation March in London. This was seen by the media and the anywheres not as a patriotic plea for free speech, a call for reform of the migration policy or a concerned protest with the direction of the country, but more as a far-right racist demonstration of hatred, intimidation and fragility. The very next day after the march, the Starmer regime launched their counterattack. Government, media, the whole machine all declared in unison it was time to reclaim the flag. Which from a strategic point of view, reclaiming the symbols of your opponent and diminishing their symbolic power does make sense. A PR campaign was activated overnight. The national conversation, as they like to call it, became a call to reclaim the flag from the evil Gammonzilla.
So let's fly all our flags conference, because they're our flags. They belong to all of us, and we will never surrender them.
At the Labour Party conference, they made this reclaiming the flag and the English identity the core central theme. The message was clear: this is not your flag, it's everyone's, and if you say otherwise, you're our enemy. Starmer ended his keynote speech with a warning to anyone not falling in line. If you're not on board with this redefining of what England and what being English means, then you will be fought, you'll be censored, you'll be arrested.
If you say or imply that people cannot be English or British, because of the colour of their skin. If you say they should now be deported, then mark my words, we will fight you with everything we have, because you are the enemy of national renewal.
The problem for Starmer and co. is that this attempt to reclaim the flag won't work. Ultimately, the bonds that they're trying to sever are too deep and too ancient. The symbol of England is loved instinctually by the English people. It's not mere geography, it's a history, an inheritance, an obligation to our ancestors who gave us so much. It's a meaningful identity grounded in reality and history. Compare this to the anywheres who are obediently flying the flag at this moment, responding not instinctually through a love of England, but intellectually in response to a PR campaign in opposition to the English. Now that will fade away long before the deep love we feel for England. Starmer wants to reclaim the flag as a totem of an international jamboree, a multiracial economic zone where the highest values are diversity, inclusivity, and a tolerance for everyone and anyone. Will anyone really see that as an idea to rally around or to fight for? This blunt dogma where everyone in Britain is British and everyone in England is English hides a lot of devilish detail. They want the conversation to be a simple matter between ethno-nationalism on one side and civic nationalism on the other, because in the court of public opinion they know that they can win that. The post-war consensus has pretty successfully undermined ethno-nationalism as something which is outdated and evil, and suggesting otherwise is a deeply held taboo. But even civic nationalism, which was pushed out after World War II as the new, updated, kosher solution for societies, all seem to be coming apart at the seams, principally because of a lack of unity, a lack of binding identity, cohesion, and shared values. But civic nationalism only works on the assumption that multiple ethnicities can coexist if they're bound by shared values. And the idea that everyone moving here is in any way bound to our values and our notions of unity is clearly a fantasy. There is no process, no way that we discern the values of people arriving here. And why? Because the liberal fantasy that everyone is just the same. Anyway, throughout history, all of this was a self-evident truth, but here in 2025, it's a taboo conversation. And where the public debate should be about the limits of civic nationalism, about what values we should insist on, about how we discern which people we should and shouldn't allow to live in our society, about how much migration is too much migration, and whether it's truly wrong to want to live amongst your own ethnic people. But no, the simple dialectic that they wanted to frame the whole conversation was on one side you've got the evil, fascist, ethno-nationalists, and on the other the tolerant, future-facing Britain as a country for everyone. But the cat in the bag got a whole lot more difficult for Starmer to try and contain when, on Yom Kippur, a Muslim man named Jihad attacked a synagogue, a man who moved to the UK as a migrant in 2006, a man who was on release after a rape allegation. As Morgoth pointed out on X, according to the logic of the liberal consensus, this should just be thought of as an English-on-English crime, which clearly is absurd, but it neatly gets right to the heart of the question and dissolves these egalitarian claims that we're all just some interchangeable unit. It's telling that the regime bristled at the flag of St. George. The councils removed them, the Karens admonished them, people were even arrested for waving them. A fuss that wasn't mirrored with the Palestinian flags or the pride flags often flown above our civil institutions. No, those identities get a pass. If you've ever wondered how pride flags and Palestinian flags find themselves bound together, or what logic the Queers for Palestine crowd are operating under, it's not really a woke left or right dynamic. This is actually a spiritual battle between those who are for the natural order and those who are against it. And this is the point. These people are driven to dissolve boundaries, all boundaries. Man, woman, family, sexuality, morality, they want to fragment it all. It's a unity of disunity. A coalition of opposition. It's an inversion of the natural order. It's an inversion of proper identity. Ultimately, it's a rebellion against God. In their simplistic neo-Marxist way of thinking, you're either an oppressed or you're an oppressor. So oppressed flags are good, oppressor flags are bad. But this is why they embrace all of the suicidal empathy, why they prioritise outsiders. It's why they rally behind the Palestine and Pride flags. The Palestine flag now symbolises more than just a protest about what's happening in Gaza, but it's been co-opted as a symbol of unity for Muslims, as well as anyone hostile to those natives. The Pride flag shares that hostility and opposition. But this unity of disunity, this coalition of opponents, these are the flags of the people who would open the city gates for the barbarians and do it with a smile. Incredibly, England's leadership shares this mindset, firmly on the side of the outsider, hostile to the English identity and in denial of the English ethnicity. The state have said in no uncertain terms that they will fight anyone insisting on an exclusive English identity. Identity by definition is a unique property. Of course it excludes. It excludes all the things that aren't England, France, Wales, believe it or not, every other country. They're all excluded, not out of hate, but simply out of definition. England has boundaries. Some are physical and some are metaphysical. Geography, landscape, architecture, heritage and language and dialect and history and mythos and morality and community, our sense of self, our sense of purpose and ancestry. Boundaries are a tangible line. Physically, semantically, the line defining the edges of an identity to show who and what is inside that identity and what is outside that identity.
The story of who we are is contested. I am a patriot.
Islam, my own religion. Like a lot of practicing Muslims, my faith is the most important thing in my life. It is the absolute driver of everything that I do.
Mine is the patriotism of Orwell. Pride in a country that is forever changing, while also ineffably always the same. It is a love of this country as an open, tolerant, generous place. But that broad vision of who we are is increasingly disputed. Patriotism, a force for good, is turning into something smaller, something more like ethno-nationalism, which struggles to accept that someone who looks like me and has a faith like mine can truly be English or British. So the challenge we now face is this: not just to win the next election, but to keep the country together and to fight for our belief in a greater Britain, not a littler England.
Step into the sun, step into the light. Keep straight ahead for the most glorious place on the face of the earth or the sky. Hold on to your breath, hold on to your love, hold on to your hope. March up to the gate and build it open. Ah.